Mounting Chinese aggression increases risk of war in Taiwan Strait as per a report. Before we dive in details, please subscribe to the channel and stay always one step ahead to know all global important events happening around you. Give a thumbs up and share the video with your family and friends. Let's move on with the video. China's increasing aggression around the Taiwan Strait, and its refusal to speak to the US military through channels designed to avoid conflict, is fueling the fears of another major war, the Washington Post reported. During US President Joe Biden's talks with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping this week, their first meeting in a year, the re-establishment of those ties will be high on the agenda. But the analysts have pointed out that China is being deliberately unpredictable and incommunicative, to keep the US military off guard in the Pacific, and to warn against American attempts to help defend Taiwan. It's reached a very, very high level of tension, said Lyle Goldstein, Director of Asia Engagement at Defense Priorities, a think tank. Without a breakthrough that eases mistrust, the current fairly acute crisis will continue. War could essentially happen any time, he said. Xi and Biden are due to meet on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in San Francisco, part of a broader effort to reset relations that have rapidly deteriorated amid heated technology competition, a rogue balloon, and increasingly brazen Chinese military activity in the South China Sea and around Taiwan, the Washington Post reported. But there's another player in this geopolitical chess game, the United States. A longtime ally of Taiwan, the US has been vocal about its concerns over China's aggressive maneuvers. In fact, Washington has sailed its own warships close to Taiwan and through the Taiwan Strait, a clear signal of its commitment to Taiwan's defense. The US stance has been met with accusations from China of collusion with Taiwan to challenge Beijing's authority, further straining the already tenuous US-China relationship. The rising tensions in the Taiwan Strait are not just about China and Taiwan or even the United States, they are symptomatic of a larger global issue, the power dynamics in the Indo-Pacific region. As we delve deeper into the issue, we will see how the situation has escalated in recent years. At the same time, as Beijing tries to intimidate Taiwan, the Chinese military has conducted more than 180 risky intercepts against US surveillance aircraft in the Pacific in the past 2 years, more than in the previous decade. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Gen. Charles Q. Brown Jr., said that he had written to his Chinese counterpart, urging the resumption of military communication channels that Beijing severed in retaliation for then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taipei last year. It is hugely important to ensure there is no miscalculation between the militaries, he said. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan also reiterated this on Sunday. The president is determined to see the re-establishment of military-to-military ties because he believes it's in the U.S. national security interest, he said on CBS's Face the Nation. According to the report, Chinese military provocations are becoming existential for Taipei. Beijing claims Taiwan, an island that has never been governed by the Chinese Communist Party, as its territory, and top American intelligence officials say Xi has ordered his military to be ready to invade the island by 2027. But it doesn't stop there. This has become more than theoretical over the past 14 months, since Nancy Pelosi visited and lauded Taiwan's democratic system, which Beijing viewed as encouraging separatist forces in Taiwan. Beijing retaliated by severing important channels of military-to-military communication, and by ordering fighter jets and warships in large numbers to menace Taiwan. That has continued for more than a year. Beijing sent 336 aircraft to the edges of Taiwanese airspace in September alone, prompting Taiwan's defense minister to warn that the scale and pace of drills were getting out of hand, the Washington Post reported. The report further pointed out that the fighter jets that once stayed on China's side of the Taiwan Strait have been crossing the median line, an unofficial border down the middle of the 110-mile-wide strait, with greater frequency, and are venturing past Taiwan's southern tip to the relatively less defended east coast. On September 17th, a record 103 Chinese warplanes flew near Taiwanese airspace in a 24-hour period. China sent a drone all the way around Taiwan for the first time in April, and this has quickly become a regular maneuver, with China sending unmanned aircraft to encircle the island 5 times since. But this isn't just about Taiwan. Chinese aircraft carriers are making themselves at home on the other side of the island in the Pacific Ocean, which the United States has long considered its military purview. There, they launch jets at Taiwan's east coast and practice repelling the United States, should it one day come to defend Taiwan from a Chinese invasion. The September drills were the largest in the waters to Taiwan's east for nearly a decade, with 17 warships including the Shandong aircraft carrier holding large-scale exercises stretching from the Philippine Sea to near the American territory of Guam. Barely a month later, the Shandong strike group again sailed through the Bashi Channel between Taiwan and the Philippines, marking its third entry into the Pacific this year. For Taipei, the frequency of Chinese drills over the last year confirms Beijing's disregard for long-standing norms of standard military behavior in the region. Without those tacit agreements, it's easier for accidents to happen and harder to contain fallout if they do. Caught in the crossfire of this escalating tension is the United States, a key player in the Taiwan Strait. The nation has been assertively responding to China's provocative acts, signaling its unwavering commitment to maintaining peace and stability in the region. Not one to sit on the sidelines, the United States has sailed a warship close to Taiwan and through the Taiwan Strait, a move that has undoubtedly added fuel to the already simmering tensions between China and the US. In addition to its naval presence, the United States has thrown its support behind Taiwan in more ways than one. The US-China Economic and Security Review Commission has urged urgent measures to strengthen US military deterrence against potential Chinese aggression towards Taiwan. These recommended measures include authorizing funds for Taiwan to purchase defense articles from the US, deploying missiles in the Indo-Pacific, and increasing surveillance funding. This highlights the US's commitment to Taiwan's security and its readiness to counteract any potential threats. But the support doesn't stop at military aid. Taiwan is a significant trading and economic partner for the United States, particularly in the face of strained relations with China. Taiwan's role in creating a China-free supply chain for critical supplies like semiconductors is significant. Taiwanese industry has even invested in building a plant in the US, further cementing the close relationship between the two nations. However, these actions have not been without consequences. China accuses the US of colluding with Taiwan to challenge Beijing, leading to a palpable strain in the relations between the two global powers. It's a high-stakes game of chess, with each move carrying immense significance on the global stage. The US's involvement in the Taiwan Strait is a clear indication of the global implications of this regional dispute. The decisions made now may well shape the geopolitical landscape for years to come, making this not just a regional issue, but a global one. The rising tensions in the Taiwan Strait could have severe consequences, not just for the region, but for the world. If these tensions boil over into actual military conflict, the repercussions would be far-reaching. We're not just talking about a regional conflict here. We're talking about a potential showdown between two of the world's most powerful nations, China and the United States. The prospect of military conflict in the Taiwan Strait is a chilling one, and it's a situation that could escalate quickly, with devastating consequences. The impact on global trade would be significant. Taiwan plays a crucial role in the global technology supply chain, particularly in the production of semiconductors. Any disruption to the supply chain could have a ripple effect on industries worldwide, from automobiles to smartphones and everything in between. And let's not forget about security. The Taiwan Strait is a key strategic waterway, one that's vital to regional and global security. Its control could tip the balance of power in the region and potentially the world. The specter of a militarized Taiwan Strait is not one that the world looks forward to. But it's not just about trade and security. The situation in the Taiwan Strait also raises fundamental questions about democracy and human rights. Taiwan is a beacon of democracy in the region, a stark contrast to China's authoritarian regime. The fate of Taiwan could have profound implications for the future of democracy in Asia and beyond. This is a complex issue, one that requires careful consideration and thoughtful diplomacy. The stakes are high, and the consequences of missteps could be dire. The world watches and waits, hoping for a peaceful resolution. The Taiwan Strait, a small strip of water, holds the potential to shape our world's future. The world watches anxiously as the situation in the Taiwan Strait unfolds. Countries around the globe and international organizations alike are keeping a close eye on the escalating tensions between China and Taiwan. Many nations are expressing their concerns over the potential destabilization in the region. The United States, amongst others, has voiced its apprehension over China's aggressive military activities near Taiwan. The US-China Economic and Security Review Commission has even gone as far as to recommend urgent measures to strengthen US military deterrence against potential Chinese aggression. Simultaneously, international organizations are urging for peaceful resolutions and diplomatic dialogues. The United Nations, for instance, is calling for restraint and open communication between China and Taiwan. It's clear that the global community realizes the gravity of these tensions. As the world takes a collective breath, we are reminded that the ripple effect of the situation in the Taiwan Strait extends far beyond its waters. As we continue to watch the Taiwan Strait, one thing is certain: the decisions made here will resonate globally.